I'm JOE FRANTZ, filmmaker and co-author of the book Dream Seller, the addiction memoir of Brandon Novak. In writing the new volumes of the Dream Seller series, I recently conducted an interview with Brandon in Rehab. It culminates in a message that Brandon and I felt was important to pass along to you, his friends, fans, and those who suffer from the disease of addiction. Let's roll the tape. So, every journey through rehab begins with a rock-bottom situation. I mean, you were at the point where you were deceived and stolen from every friend and relative to the utmost. You were shooting, what, $150 of cocaine and heroin into your arm every day. You had no one left, and you were reduced to nothing, right?
As you know, Franz, I've overdosed on more fingers and toes than me, you, sitting here. You know what I mean? So junkies like us don't process the word death. Death isn't reality to us. And if it is, that's the way we live our life. It's a crapshoot, man. Because a good addict and a good junkie blocks the death part out. Hopeless despair, man. That's a feeling like no other. It's worse than death. Homelessness, man. Walking the streets aimlessly, with nowhere to go, no one to see, and just walking. No destination in sight, to where you just get tired and you just lay down. And you wake up the next day to do that. That's the end results for me, man. Like, living like that, and when you know better and you come from better and you were raised better, that doesn't sit well, man.
So this is approximately your 30th rehab stay. It's the longest one by far. It's 60 days, and in my opinion, it's probably been the most beneficial. What's different about this time?
This is the only thing that's different this time that I've never did in any treatment centers, besides working the steps while I've been here. I've never worked the steps. Every time I've went to treatment, I always said I gotta be high before I go. Because if this is the last time, I wanna enjoy my high. This time was the first time ever in my life I came to a rehab so sick, so violently ill, because I had nothing. And I came in here and I couldn't fill my paperwork out because I was too sick. So sick that I didn't have the ability to make a decision for myself, because my decisions always kill me. And I didn't know if I was coming or going. I just knew I didn't want to feel how I felt. And because I could barely, literally, put one foot in front of the other, I swear to God, I barely could walk. So if they said, Brandon, I suggest you stay for 90 days, I was in such pain that I couldn't think if that was a good idea. I just said, whatever you say. And it was the best thing ever.
So you're saying that one of the things that made this time different was, whereas in the past you would get yourself so high that you could deal with going in, this time it was the opposite. You were sick into submission.
Exactly. I couldn't conjure up a story or think about what I had to do a month and a half down the road. My eyes couldn't focus. They were twitching, and almost like I was at a point where I was going to have a seizure. And that pain that I felt laying on that floor of that outpatient place in a fetal position, with my back against the clients that were waiting to go to group, laying in a fetal position in the corner. And I remember thinking to myself, if I could just get inside this wall. I said to them, here I am, do with me what you will. You suggest 90 days, I'll stay 90 days.
So Brandon, we both know that your biggest relapse trigger is leaving rehab. Your tolerance is down. A lot of hours have been spent concentrating on missing that fix. And you and I both know that you can't watch a junkie 24 hours a day. If a junkie wants to score, a junkie will score. What's different about this time? What's going to stop you?
You're correct. You're completely correct. Every treatment center I was in, at the tail end of it, my mind would start to fixate on the taste, the ritual, the routine of getting and using that one last time. And I didn't have the tools to combat what I was against.
What's the single most important coping skill you've learned that's going to combat your relapse triggers on the outside?
I accept that I'm an alcoholic. I built this wall up of really high, deep, big wall, a barrier between me, cocaine, and heroin. My past experiences and Novak acting as Novak, I would go to the pub and I would drink some wine. And my sponsor told me I'm different than everybody else because at the bottom of my glass of wine is a needle every time. It doesn't matter if it takes me 6 months, 9 months, a year to get back to that street corner where I'm buying heroin. It comes. But it's not that 10th drink that's going to get me. It's that first drink. Because as soon as I take the first drink, I lose all ability to have options and choices. Now my life is dictated by drugs or alcohol or anything that will take me outside of myself. And I know that, and I accept it. I've realized, so I'm accountable for my actions. Boys do what they want to do. Men do what they have to do. So I completely accept that I'm an alcoholic. I can't have a drop of anything. And I accept it's the first drink that will kill me.
Okay, so you've done your 60 days in rehab. Tell me what's next.
I will be moving on to Good Friends, which is another 90-day commitment that I am making that I will stay complete and finish. And it is a recovery house.
So essentially, they're going to teach you the skills you need to cope with life in a structured environment. What's your emotional level?
I feel great about it. You know what I mean? Because all my weaknesses that I once had, I've now been taught the tools on how to combat them. So I'm extremely emotionally grateful for this opportunity.
Okay. Well, Brandon, you and I both know that there's what's called the therapeutic value of one addict helping another. I want to post this on the internet because I know that somewhere out there's going to be an addict listening to this who's thinking about checking themselves into a rehab. I know you never preached at anybody, you don't preach, but if you could just briefly describe why what you have is so special to you right now and why someone might want what you have, which is sobriety.
Do yourself the biggest favor in the world. Get yourself out of your way. You're your own worst enemy. Your thinking is your own worst enemy. Your decision making is fucking horrible. If it's worked so well, why are you contemplating checking yourself into a rehab? Ask yourself that question. And then when you get to, God willing, a treatment center that's willing to help you, when you get clean a week or two in, don't think you know what's going on. Because if you're anything like an addict like me and have used for as long as I've used and have hurt people for as long as I've hurt people, people start to disappear. Options fade away. Dreams are a memory. And your self-esteem was something that you used to have. And being alone is a really sad way to live life, alone. I mean, to where you don't even have anyone to call. But the beauty is, there's a way out. Like I finally learned. Get yourself out of your way. Follow directions. Take orders. Like, there's a solution. There is an answer. And it's a few simple requirements. Pray. Go to meetings. Don't pick up. Have a sponsor. And don't just say that, because it sounds really good to say, but I swear to God, I'm a testament to this. When you believe it, it's a whole different fucking psyche, man. Like, it's a whole different reality when you believe it. Now, because I could tell you every step of the 12 steps. I can recite all the literature. But when I came to believe, like, it's such a walk in the park. And at 64 days, if I would have made a list of what I wanted in 64 days, my first day in detox, I would have fucking undersold myself so much. At 64 days, I have a life beyond my wildest dreams. And I have hope for the future. And my self-esteem is like just that, self-esteem. And I know it. And if for nothing else, give your loved ones a break. For me, it's my mother. And I find myself, if I ever do fall short, if for nothing else, I'll do it for my mother. If nothing else, do it for my mom. Give yourself a break. Get out of your way, man.
Brandon, thank you for your honesty. I know this is not easy stuff for you to talk about. All right. Thank you.